the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Just remain standing for a couple seconds for a moment of silent reflection. Thank you. Roll call.
Persing?
Here.
Shipman?
Here.
Reichner?
Here.
Henry?
Here.
Ister?
Very little on the agenda tonight, but is there any audience comment on any agenda items? Okay. There's no update. That's for next week meeting. We'll go right into unfinished business. Acting Chief Hare, would you like to reply to Mr. Lamb, who is in the audience tonight?
Yes, Mr. Lamb, after receiving your complaint, I just have a few questions for you before I give you pretty much my answer on that.
Okay.
When you called, number one, what was the suspicious activity besides them thinking they were going to cause trouble?
The suspicious activity was the fact they were outside and they had caused trouble previously.
So there was something previous that happened before, correct?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. Who did you confirm with that there was a warrant for Snyder County?
It was the probation officer who was handling the case.
And who was that?
Kerry, I can't remember his last name.
Kerry Davis?
Kerry Davis, that's it.
Okay. Basically, you were a third-party caller, correct?
Yeah.
You weren't there?
No.
Okay. The officer, I'm going to let you know, he was dispatched at 16:05, and that's where he requested a 1029 check. You know what a 29 check is?
On the status of the,
That's the status of a warrant,
okay.
okay? Also, you say in your letter a blue car, which is usually used by the chief of police.
Well, nobody said it was in the car, so I didn't know who it was.
Okay, well, that's just a patrol vehicle. It's
Yeah.
not exclusively used by the
Yeah,
chief
I
of
know.
police anymore,
Okay.
okay? And basically, he was dispatched at 16:05. You called at 1600. He was dispatched at 16:05. And he cleared the call in 5 minutes at 16:10.
Okay.
Okay. Also, on the tape, when I was listening to the tape, he actually talked to county and asked them, the only thing that you were inquiring about was the warrant, correct?
I was concerned, not just about the warrant, but the fact that there's potentially more trouble down there, so.
Okay, and you also say in your letter that a few days prior there was an incident?
Yeah, 2 days prior to that. on the
2 days prior,
Wednesday.
you were involved in that incident, correct?
I was present.
Are you the father-in-law to the female that called? That there was a push and match between the two of you?
Stepfather.
Okay, you're the stepfather, but there was a push and match between the two of you?
There was a pushing match, yes.
Okay, so there was a push and match between the two of you, okay. Basically, when I listened to the tape, some of the problems lie is that the county did not tell him about the previous incidents, okay, number
Okay.
one. Number two, the 29 check came back negative, which means there was never, no warrant on the gentleman you're referring to.
Yeah, okay.
And there was never a warrant, nor is there a warrant. I actually spoke to Mr. Davis at Sunbury County Probation, and he never spoke with you, okay?
Oh,
He says you keep calling, but he never really spoke to you and told you if there was a warrant or not. The only thing that was relayed to the police department was if there was a problem, that we are to contact them, and they will deal with it at that time. But there was no physical warrant out on somebody. So when you say somebody he was there for 5 minutes, joking around and having a good time with him, he wasn't. He was asking him questions, waiting for the 29 check to come back, which he did,
Okay.
and it was clear. He's not wanted by the Snyder County Probation, nor the Union County Probation, which you entailed prior to that incident on Wednesday night. You said he was a warrant for Union County Probation also, and there was
Well, I
not
was
a
in
warrant.
Union County, you know. That was
Okay, well, that's what I have on the record from
Well,
911.
that was Snyder County.
Okay, well, I know that was from Friday, the Wednesday before, and there was actually an incident on the 5th also, okay? You even said Union County was also, and there was, between your guys' scuffle before, there was a scuffle before that you were involved with too.
I was present.
Okay, you were present, and also involved in that, okay, with the push and match between her, your stepdaughter, whatever she is to you, okay? So if your question is, you know, why did we pick him up? Because we can't have no reason to pick him up or take him into custody.
Okay, well, I know that I didn't speak to Kerry Davis directly, but he spoke to my stepson's girlfriend, and he did tell her there was a warrant out for this guy's arrest. That's where I got the information from.
Okay, again, third party, you're not getting it directly.
Yeah,
You just got done telling me,
yeah.
but you just got done telling me you didn't speak to Mr. Davis.
I left message for him.
Okay, but you did speak to him, okay? You gotta be careful how you address that, because you're gonna get yourself in trouble by having false reports.
I
And I don't
spoke-
want that, I don't want to see that.
I spoke to his colleague, Mr. Wagner, of course, I didn't speak to him.
Okay, well, again, you just told me you spoke to Mr. Lamb a little bit ago. You spoke to Mr. Davis.
No, I said, that's what the
You
guy's
said you
name
spoke
was.
to Mr. Davis, so I'm just telling you, you need to be careful when you're accusing somebody there's a warrant, so we don't look like the bad guys and go pick somebody up that's not wanted. He wasn't wanted, you gotta confirm that information before you go and report it. The other thing was, the 911 dispatcher also told you to contact your stepson back, did he not? Did the 911 dispatcher tell you to call your stepson and have him call 911?
I did tell him to call, yeah.
Did he call 911?
I don't know, I wasn't
He
there.
did not call 911. So our concern is if he's not really that concerned about the gentleman across the street, or he would have called 911 if he was that fear of his safety. So there's a lot of miscommunication between you, 911, Standard County Probation, had nothing to do with the Sunbury Police Department. Okay?
Okay.
Thank you.
I don't know, sounds like lies to me.
Okay.
Lies.
Brianna?
All right, we have, or what I'd like to put before
I said-
City Council
I said
tonight
Lamb's a liar.
is a resolution to declare a couple more properties a public nuisance. Those properties tonight are 416, 418 Chestnut Street, 966 South Front Street, and the third one, 460 Arch Street, is actually going to be our first commercial property that we're looking at. And we're developing a separate set of guidelines to follow for that, which we will outline at a future meeting. But I do request that the city goes ahead and declares these three properties a public nuisance tonight.
Any motion to accept?
Wait, I got a question. Mike, didn't you tell me that 966 is being renovated?
I apologize, 966 what?
South
Front
Front Street. I thought that was
South Front.
964.
That's 964, no, that is not being renovated. 418, when we had the discussion, excuse me, I apologize. 418, I did stress to you that it was occupied.
Yes.
I don't know, there's no renovation.
But 966, she said 966. 966 is being
Oh,
renovated.
yes,
That was
the
my
property beside 964 is being renovated. The
Okay.
whole rear of the property.
That's-
Okay, so
that's what I'm
then
too.
let's take that off for now, and we'll revisit it if it's still an issue
Yeah.
down the road.
When I talked to him
Okay.
about that, the realty company in Selinsville, I believe, didn't you say it's a school teacher or retired school teacher?
Yes,
Getting
school
into
teacher out of Danville or Silversville. one of the
Investment
two.
properties or something.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, well, that's good news then.
I have a question.
Sure.
Can we vote on something without legally knowing the address? Like you're saying in business? How can we vote on something if you're not saying who it is?
Oh, it's
It's
the
the
address of the
460 Arch
property.
Street's the address. We
Okay.
can
Yeah,
never
we're
get
actually,
people's
we're,
names.
yeah, we're only voting on the property address. That's the procedure that we've taken. Because we're declaring the properties themselves to be a public nuisance. I'm sorry, you want to split the addresses? So then, it's 460 Arch Street and 416 Mike, are you recommending that we don't, pursue, 418 Chestnut Street then? You said it is
I
occupied?
would recommend holding off on that
Yeah,
property
if
so we're able to gain some more information.
Yeah, is it occupied by the owner, or is
It's,
it? is-
I don't know the relationship of the family to the owner, but I can tell you the owner lives in New York. I can tell you that.
Okay, well, let's keep looking at it.
Is the owner
I'd
on
rather-
both sides, you know?
Yes.
Two separate owners.
Nope, same owner, I believe.
All right, well, why don't we play it safe? We can always revisit this at the next meeting.
Okay.
So we'll just 460 Arch Street.
All right, so then the motion I need is for 460 Arch Street.
I'll make that motion.
Need a second?
Henry,
Yes.
Eister, Persing,
Yes.
Shipman,
Yes.
Reichner.
Yes.
I know you don't want to pay any bills, John, but we have to, I guess. You're up.
I thought you might say that. We have $145,285.91 of general fund expenses and $4,000 in liquid fuel expenses. I make a motion that we pay those.
Need a second?
Eister, Persing,
Yes.
Shipman,
Yes.
Reichner.
Yes.
Henry.
Yes.
We're ready for discussion. Any audience comment? Megan, did you want to say anything about the SRI? I know you're not on the agenda, but is there anything particular you wanted to say about SRI tonight? I just seen you sitting there, I just,
I just was coming after the meeting, but
River Festival is approximately like 7 weeks away. It's 25th anniversary. We're gonna have a lot of new things this year we're gonna do because of the anniversary. I don't wanna get into the details right at the moment. We don't have them all worked out, but we're pretty close. So it's gonna be a really big event this year, and just, you know, so hoping everybody just comes out to the event.
Yes, ma'am.
Regina Russell, community activist. I would like to still follow up on the property at 354 Walnut. I've been complaining about the parking issue and graduated to the fire safety code of blocking the entrances in and out of the house, and there's 2 doors, but I have to say, I guess since coming and speaking about it, there's only 1 door that's now still being blocked by a vehicle that's permitted to park there. I come back to this because if anybody read the daily item today, you can see where there was a fire in Ceilings Grove, and that was a 1-level house, where 354 is a 2-level, and if it has a basement, maybe 3 levels. I don't understand why the code office is not enforcing the fire code and fire safety at this location, since we already know that Ms. Knowles is an advocate for the city, and she has several children, plus 3 handicapped children in the house. It takes about 2 minutes for a fire to actually consume the house, and I don't know if they have a fire plan. But it took 11 fire departments to respond to the house in Ceilings Grove. That was 1 level and not a 2-level home. I guess this would be a fix from you, Mr. Mayor, because you're the leader. And the other departments are not going to do anything unless you say, fix it.
Well, I'm not sure anything's broken, but can I ask you one question? Have you ever been in this lady's house? You know
I don't have to go in her
out.
house to see that she is
Is
blocking
that a
the
no?
sidewalk,
Is
and
that a
she
no?
is. That's right, that's a no. I have no reason to go in her house.
You said you don't even know if that's a real door. Maybe they have it handled from the inside or something. I don't know. I've never seen that. I mean, I've been down to see the
I'm
parking.
going to keep bringing the issue up,
You
sir,
bring it-
because
bring it up.
it is a fire code. You didn't want to enforce the parking code, so the lady, whoever it is, she said her grandchild. And I've taken pictures to show you that the block on Walnut Street, when they're blocking the sidewalk like that, has plenty of parking spaces right across the street. It can't be as far as where I am now to that table for someone to park their vehicle on the street and walk into the house. And if that's the only concern that the council has, because they don't want me to be right about something, so be it. While I'm standing here, may I make an announcement?
Sure.
All right. The American Red Cross holds an annual, they don't particularly hold it, but Evan Hospital holds an exercise every year, and they're considered disaster drills. They look for volunteers to help different agencies like the Pennsylvania Emergency Management Agency to do these exercises and make sure that the agencies are ready. I don't know if Sunbury has ever had one, but I've done about 4 of them. So the American Red Cross is always asked to get volunteers. And if anybody's interested, the drill will be done at Evan Hospital on August the 19th, starting at 8 a.m. in Lewisburg. There'll be free coffee and donuts, and there'll also be lunch served at 12 o'clock afterwards. It's an exercise that's evaluated by local officials, and it is to confirm that emergency response volunteers, as well as hospital staff, are able to do their jobs according to the federal state guidelines in Pennsylvania. All hospitals are required by law to hold this exercise on a regular and ongoing basis. I know that some of our, I've seen, I guess, some people from the Sunbury area at this drill. But if anyone is interested in volunteering, the number is 570-524-0400. So come in, rags, because they end up taking you through a water tank to act like it's a decontamination. Last year we did a chemical drill, so that you know what to do if there's a chemical spill from the railroad or any type of transportation. Thank you.
Do you know when Sunbury has theirs?
No, sir, I've never known Sunbury Hospital to have it yet.
They do a test every year, they have to.
That's what I'm saying, my
It's
understanding.
usually in the week in October when fire prevention is. And, so that, yeah. They usually get the Sunbury Fire Department and wherever they designate what they want to do.
Jim?
There's supposed to be a letter here somewhere, but didn't get to it today. Front Street Motors wants permission to use Susquehanna Avenue, July, the date I'm guessing was 17th and 18th. They want to have a car sale. Now, it's our street. I refer back to Dale. I don't think, of course, PennDOT's not involved.
What month is it, June?
July. I don't have a calendar in front of me, but it'd be that Friday and Saturday, 18th, 19th.
The 17th and 18th is a Thursday and Friday.
I was thinking 18th and 19th. Like I said, Cheryl may have that letter. I don't have it, but I just want to bring that up.
So I'm bringing an envelope, but I don't know.
Cheryl has it then. Okay.
And we're talking which street?
Susquehanna Avenue. I hope to get to Dale and his department to figure out a detour plan for that 2-day event.
You just talked about the end, Jimmy.
Yeah, the very end.
Yeah, I think what we're gonna do for the 4th of July or the 5th of July at the museum, they're not closing off Front Street now. They're just gonna barricade part of that behind it there. So, yeah, it's nothing.
Basically the same thing.
Yeah, we'll just probably close it off from here to there.
Okay. Well, it's not any different than the neighborhood thing that we had up in the hill a year or two ago.
I wanted to bring it, like I said, make sure probably leave the letter down there. I didn't get it.
I'll make that.
I'll second that.
I have a question.
Yes.
What happens if we have a business that wants to shut 4th Street down or Market Street down?
Once it's get out.
I think, I know where you're coming from. I think and even Alexander's, and they have a big dedication because they're under renovations. I think they should shut Market Street down. They can sell an extra 25, 50 cars that day.
Okay.
But we generate taxes. I've already talked to them about that because if we can promote business, that's what we're about.
Just asking.
I'm all for it.
In clear, it's not PennDOT issue.
Yeah, PennDOT issue, but we just.
That would be, but this would be.
No, this one would be, no.
We have a first and second?
Persing?
Yes.
Shipman?
Yes.
Reichner?
Yes.
Henry?
Yes.
Ister?
Everybody have enough chance here? Any other comments? John, cable agreement renewal.
City of Sunbury has a franchise agreement with Service Electric. That agreement was signed 10 years ago. It will expire at the end of this year. There is a 5-year automatic renewal right in that contract. We have been advised by the cable company that they would like to exercise that right for a 5-year renewal. So just making everyone aware, it doesn't take any action by council, but they are exercising their extension for 5 more years to be their cable provider for the city of Sunbury.
John, the only thing I would ask, Terry and I was at a meeting about a year ago, and discussing the cable companies. We have a right from time to time to ask for an audit.
Okay?
Just ask for an audit, so we can determine in the future if we're gaining customers, or if they are, which should increase our revenue.
Okay.
And then all they need to do is punch out, how many customers the customer base.
The other thing, our reimbursement, is it a percentage or is it a flat rate?
5%.
Okay, so if their fees go up, ours,
Right.
5% of theirs. I think we're generating, what, John, a little over 100.
It's about that now. Started out 10 years ago with 60 65 or 68, so it has grown in years a little bit.
Okay. Citywide vehicle cleanup, I'm sorry.
I have
Yes.
a question. You're talking about the cable TV.
Yes.
Why can't we have other competition other than like Comcast and stuff? I know we have DirecTV.
That's not cable.
As far as cable, they're franchised, their areas. Comcast can't come in here, they can't go to Scranton where Comcast is at. The cable companies are franchised areas, and it's through the FCC.
So they really control how much
Absolutely.
anybody, that's a bunch of
It's sort of a monopoly, that's the way it is.
Looks like Comcast buying, they're always buying other companies out.
Yeah.
There was rumors out there about service electric.
If you go back to the late 1940s, when that federal legislation was enacted, a cable company had to spend a tremendous amount of money to run cable throughout the municipality. And so the federal government, in its wisdom, said that it would be okay to have a monopoly for the cable company. And in those days, cable companies were all basically small local cable companies. At one time, we had like 5 in the area. Every little municipality had a different cable company. They were bought up, in our area, bought up eventually by the same concern, and now same company owns it. But that's how that all started. And it was to protect the investment because out in rural United States, where you couldn't get TV, if you were in Philadelphia or New York and they had 27 stations, you put one of those little rabbit ears on your TV or a little antenna on the side of your house and could get 10, 12 stations. Here you couldn't get any, or maybe one, and so it brought, the cable brought TV to the rural parts of the country. So that was the reasoning, and that was the thinking behind the government giving permission.
And I think 10 years ago, when we redid that contract, the city was getting pennies.
Yeah,
I mean, we're talking about
Yeah.
$5,000, $10,000.
Seven.
It wasn't a lot.
we're getting $7,000
That's what I
a year.
thought.
And
Remember when they renegotiated that?
We-
Norman Dam was getting more than over.
Yeah, we renegotiated that 7 to 10 years ago. We were getting 7,000, and it went to about 67.
Years ago, it was, CATV was in Milton and Danville, this was BKP here. And the company from out in the region bought them all up. Now it's Service Electric, they use CATV in some places. It's all Service Electric now. They bought all the small ones up.
They were the first.
They were the first one, first cable organization in the United States.
Citywide cleanup, unlicensed and unregistered vehicles and trailers. I'm giving everybody a week's notice. The police department's going to be pretty active in that come the first week of June. So again, what that means is you can't have, first week of July, that's right, we're in the end of June. That means you can't have unlicensed, unregistered vehicles sitting in your yard. That's just not on the streets, that's in your property. So if you have them sitting in your yard, put them in your garage. But you can't just throw a vehicle, an unlicensed vehicle in your yard and throw a tarp over it. That's not the way the ordinance reads.
Mayor, the only thing I ask is the residents, if you're gonna call our station to report any vehicles that you see that you want tagged, don't call the 911 center and inundate them with 5,000 in the vehicle. Just call our secretary, I warned her already, and she'll write it down and we'll get to it.
Brad, what's that number? What is that number?
The 286-4587.
And Brad, I also put Norm, Mike, and Joe on notice if they see anything, collect the information and forward it up.
We'll hit it. Just a
Norm's
matter
very
of-
well done.
Okay. Anything else? John?
Mr. Mayor, we'd like to talk about pickleball. Terry has been doing some research on Clark, and we're going to do our best to try to get some stuff together. Hopefully by Sunbury celebration, which is only a couple weeks out. So stay tuned, probably by next meeting we'll have some announcements on that. And we'll go recruit, or ask you folks to recruit a couple of teams so we can have a good time.
We're getting played in the tennis court, you said?
Yeah,
Probably tennis courts will be.
probably up there.
So we can play some games.
Well, I think we could.
How many people will be on the team?
Maybe 2 on a team.
And as I said, my brother and his wife, I just had a text from them. They live in Colorado, and they wanted to say something about just taught 4 women how to play pickleball in Colorado City. But it's big out there, I mean, it's big. And I heard Jim say, and I heard the mayor say that they would show up and play.
All right.
I heard it.
Did you?
I think we got
Jen, is it like badminton? Is that the principal behind it?
Well, it's kind
It's
of
a cross between
laid-back
tennis and
racquetball.
racquetball. It's a bigger ball. You've got a square paddle that's about that.
Maybe it's your speed, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, it's
You can probably do it.
I looked it up online, it's your speed, buddy.
Yeah, Jim, you're all about
Well,
pickles.
see, Jan used to play racquetball.
Oh, yeah.
You were good at it.
Oh, well.
See, I know what she wants to do, be
She
on
wants
the
to
other
beat
side.
Hey, Jim, this is about 3 notches below racquetball.
Yeah, maybe 4 or 5.
I'll look forward to trying that out then.
Dave,
Yes.
Megan had some.
Yes, Megan?
I do actually have a couple interesting things that I can share,
Okay.
just very briefly. The Northumberland County IDA, they did review the proposal that we discussed at the last meeting. You prepared a letter for, in support of it, and they have tabled that pending getting some additional information. So they will hopefully revisit that again next month at the
Okay.
next month's meeting. In addition, a private citizen has, has approached us. They'd love to see a large tree at the intersection of Front and Market for the Christmas time Light Fest. So, and they would like to sponsor that. So I'm going to be taking that to the Light Fest committee. And also, we've been approached by a film company who would like to do a couple activities in the city. Might need some support from the city if they're willing, and I can hopefully talk with one of the council members later about that, about the details of it. I do know they are approached the Daily Item, and the Daily Item is going to let them use their facilities for a couple of the scenes. So.
We're making a movie.
Yeah.
Rad.
My son's the actor now.
So just want to give you those heads up, a couple fun things.
Okay, thank you very much. I want to thank everybody for coming.
That's it.
Meeting's adjourned.
Yeah.
Well, hey, I don't know.